everybody. You know what time it is. You see that flag right there. You know exactly what time it is. It is time for the Seth Floyd Show. I'm your host, Seth. Excuse me. Welcome in, everybody. You know what time it is. Time for the Seth Floyd Show. You know how I know? Look at that flag. You see the flag. You see the lights on. You know it's about to go down. Another video coming at you real quick. I'm Seth Hansen, your host for this YouTube channel, and I gotta be honest with you, I was planning on making a reaction video last night to the Rams 49ers game, and I just be real, I could not bring myself to do it. So mad, so angry. One of the worst football games I've seen all year by the 49ers. And yes, I understand the rain had a let me say this, the rain had something to do with it. One of the worst football games from an entertainment standpoint, definitely. Defensively, it was great until Dre Greenlaw went back out, got hurt again, or whatever it was, the fatigue, his knee, his sore Achilles, whatever he said. Until that point, the defense looked amazing, looked incredible. The offense, not so much. I know the rain had something to do with it, but man, lack of creativity in the play calling and overall frustration. If you know, you know. 49er fans, anyone watching this, if you know, you know. Rams fans, I know you weren't happy with how the game was going most of the game. You're happy with the result, obviously, but man, what a disappointing way for that to be the nail in the coffin on your season. So here's what I'm going to do, okay? We're not going to spend too much time on that game. You all saw it, okay? What can I say? I don't need to – we could dive into Debo talking trash, not talking trash, but complaining and then dropping that ball and just overall sucking. We could talk about that, but everyone's talking about that right now. We could talk about Devondre Campbell just deciding he don't want to play football no more because he's a little baby, because Dre Greenlaw is that much better than him. Side note, Devondre Campbell played all season, hasn't had one game with more than 8 tackles. Dre Greenlaw plays one half and has 9 tackles. Devondre Campbell, you don't get to talk, man. You don't get to talk. Also, this is what you're going to be remembered for. Your career wasn't that great. I mean, it was better than average given how long you've played. But this is going to be one of the things most people remember you for. So congrats, you've got that now. That's what people are always going to ask you about. So cool. We don't need to talk about that. I'm going to give you 3 big questions for this offseason for the Niners, and then 3 quick reasons to be optimistic if you're a 49ers fan, because I want to promote optimism here. That's the point of this channel, okay? We're always looking things through a positive lens if we can, but I do have some questions, okay? That game last night is partly what has solidified some of these questions. So I'm going to take some notes, but really quick, let's talk. I mentioned the defense. When you have Dre Greenlaw and Talanoa Hufanga on the field together like you did last night, first time all season, it is a million times better, a million times different than what we've seen. It's crazy how those 2 guys make all the difference. Even when we're super thin on the D-line, we're really young in the secondary. Like, I know Hufunga's a part of that, but you've got young corners. Anyway, it didn't matter. Like, the run defense was devastating. It was violent. It was aggressive. It was amazing is what it was. So that leads me to this. Like, you do whatever it takes at all costs. You protect those 2. I would put them on ice for the rest of the year. Just put them on IR or just make them inactive. I don't care. Don't give them that many reps. Make sure they're healthy going into next year. But also, I think you have to extend both these guys somehow, some way. They're important. They're both young. That should be one of your top priorities. So Brock didn't play good. And he's had some good games this year, some really impressive games, and he's had some bad ones. What was disappointing about Brock was the decision-making at the end, especially that interception, okay? Just losing my mind, man. I felt crappy the whole game, and then all of a sudden I was like, man, they're across the 50. They're like across the 40. It looks like maybe they'll score with 2 minutes or less than 2 minutes, and the Rams will have to score a touchdown. We have a chance to win this game. And then all of a sudden he just chucked it deep for no reason. And I get it, like the circumstances weren't great, and I'm not talking receivers. I'm talking O-line. I'm talking O-line in his face. But man, So that makes it tough. It's hard to settle in. It's hard to get into a rhythm. It's hard when the ball was slippery all night and you're now in the second half. You're not in a great rhythm. Saw it with Matt Stafford. He didn't look great most of the game. He had the big throw to Puka Nacua at the end of the game. But anyway, the point is like, man, my overall take from this season with Brock so far, and we have 3 games left, but who cares, is do I want to pay this guy $60 million a year? I don't think so. Now, it doesn't really matter what I think because I think they're going to. I think that's exactly what's about to happen. But I don't know, man. I don't think I would pay him $60 million. It's tough. We'll get into that here in a minute. Yeah, those were kind of my two biggest things taken away. The offensive line was terrible. The offensive line was so bad last night. Didn't help that Trent wasn't there. But man, was it atrocious. And this is the result you get. Not just the pass protection, but can't run the ball. Can't run the ball. So this leads me to my three biggest questions for this offseason. 49er fans, these are the questions that are going to be the top of the storyline, in my opinion, and that are going to make or break what happens next year for the 49ers, okay? But I'm going to give you optimism at the end. We're going to leave you with the optimism. I'll give you questions and caution and uncertainty first, but then I'll sweeten it up at the very end. I'll tie it in a nice little bow for you of why the Niners fans should be optimistic going into next season, okay? Number one, what do you do to rebuild the offensive line? So let's examine the line as a whole. You have Trent Williams, left tackle, has been the best left tackle in the game up until this year, but he's old. He is old. Now, old Trent, as long as he's healthy, even if he's old, he's still a top 10 tackle in the league for sure, probably top 5 if he's healthy. The problem is, when I say old, my concerns aren't he's slowing down, can't block anymore. At offensive line, you can play really high-level football into your late 30s. Because of man strength, because of your savviness. Like, it's one of those positions. It's not like a receiver or running back. It's one of those positions that relies way more on strength than anything else. So you can get away with it for a long time. But my concern is what you're seeing right now. He's missed 4 games. I don't think he plays again this year. I don't know why you would throw him out there. But injuries, like, how healthy is he going to be? I don't know. But he's good. He's really good. You've got Aaron Banks, who was so bad last night at left guard that I hope they don't bring him back. I hope they let him walk, get him out of here. He's going to command he's a starting guard that played in the Super Bowl. Like, he's got a lot of experience and notoriety playing in the Niners offense under Shanahan, that he's going to do the McGlinchey and he's going to get way overpaid. And I hope they do. I hope they let him walk, and I hope they slip in Spencer Burford, who came in 2 weeks ago and did all right coming in after Ben Barch against the Bears. Ben Barch rolled his ankle, high ankle sprain. Burford looked all right. I think he's more comfortable on the left side than where he played last year. Or you could put Feliciano there. I think that would be an okay kind of move. Oh my gosh. Jake Brendel at center, gots to go. You gots to go, man. You're out. You're gone. Okay, new guy. The good thing is centers, like Kyle Shanahan has found centers in the past, cheap, bargain hunting. There goes that light. Bargain hunting before. I'm sure there is a center out there. I haven't looked at it yet. It's something I'll dive into when we'll start looking at free agents and specific names, but there has got to be somebody out there, free agency, that you can sign that will be better than Brendel. You might have someone on your roster. Nugent, is it Nugent from they drafted him this past year? Maybe Feliciano gets a shot at center. I don't know, but someone's got to be better than Brendel. Okay, Dominic Pooney, great pick. Going to be your right guard. At least he's going to be on the line. I imagine he stays at right guard, but he could probably play tackle if we're being honest. But he's going to be a staple on your line for the next 5 to 10 years, somewhere in that span, as long as he's healthy. He's been great. And then Colt McKivitz, you probably gots to go, dude. You gots to go. This year was not good enough. Too many whiffs. Of course, there's some good plays like what McGlinchey would provide, but too many whiffs, too many bad plays. And you got to go. So what do you do to replace it? You're going to find some guys in free agency, I'm sure. I'm sure they'll bargain hunt. 49er fans, if there is a high-priced, high-prized, high-profile name at guard or center this offseason, the 49ers are not going to go there because you have to overbid. You're paying a free agency tax, basically, because you got teams bidding. So you're not going to get the most coveted offensive lineman on the market because they don't do that. That's not what they're going to do. But like in years past, they have found gems before, and they'll find somebody. I imagine they'll sign at least one offensive lineman to come in and potentially be a starter for them. Now, what about the draft, though? Because here's the thing. You don't have a right tackle that's any good. And your left tackle, who knows how many years he has left, as good as he is. My hope is the Niners, hopefully they're picking somewhere around 10, give or take a couple spots. As low as, I've heard someone say as low as 7 is the possibility. I don't know if that's true. That would be great. Pick at 7. My hope is they're close to 10, though. Maybe you're picking at 10 or 11, 12, maybe 9, somewhere in there. Point is, though, you should be in striking distance to draft Kelvin Banks out of Texas. Okay, fantastic. I think he's the best left tackle in the draft. Incredible talent. Was highly recruited, 5-star recruit. I think he was the number 1 lineman in his class. Went to Texas. I know he's been banged up. Hopefully he plays in the college football playoff, but great. If you get Kelvin Banks and you can play him at right tackle, that's one thing too. I don't know if I imagine he can play right tackle. If you can pair him, put him at right tackle for a couple seasons till Trent is gone. Sorry, probably messed with the mic. That would be a great way to set up your future. You have your tackle of the future. Love Kelvin Banks. That would be a great way to do it. We'll do a deeper dive into him later, but what do you do for the offensive line? Because 49er fans lost their mind this year, rightfully so, to a degree, because they didn't do much or anything at all to upgrade the line. I don't want to say they got lucky with Pooney, but they kind of did. Like, they probably thought Pooney was going to be good, but never imagined he'd be this good. But that was it, and it wasn't enough, and they've got to do something. So they're going to do something. They're not going to just sit on this line. I get, though, like, I know I defend the regime, the front office, the coach all the time, but, like, this is essentially the same line that you had that took you to the Super Bowl. So logically, it made sense for them to think, well, we'll run it back and we'll be all right. We'll figure it out. Aaron Banks played worse this year. Jake Brendel played worse this year. And McKivitz probably played worse, played around the same, but all in all. And then Trent Williams, between being hurt and he didn't play as well this year. Held out, was banged up, just getting older, didn't play as well. All in all, it was a problem. So they need to mass overhaul the line. Number 2. How much do you pay Brock Purdy? I talked about this before. How much do you pay him? It's such a weird thing because you don't have these mid-level contracts anymore. The only guys who get mid-level contracts are like Sam Darnold, okay? If you are going to be a bridge quarterback, like Sam Darnold this year to the Vikings, signed for $10 million. They're crushing it, having the best year of his career, of course, not even close. There's rumors that they're not even going to re-sign him because they want to move on to J.J. McCarthy. I also think Kevin O'Connell, who's an incredible coach, by the way, should win Coach of the Year, probably thinks with Daniel Jones, like, I can probably do the same thing with Daniel Jones I did with Sam Darnold. Daniel Jones has way more starts. He's had some success. And if I coach him well, he probably can do all right. And that's probably what he thinks. And he signed Daniel Jones for pennies compared to what Sam Darnold's going to get. If Sam Darnold hits true free agency, he's going to get the Baker Mayfield contract. Baker signed for $30 million, or a 3-year, $30 million, $30 million a year deal, 35, somewhere in there. That's what Sam Darnold's going to get. Because I don't think anyone's going to sign him to be like, hey, you're the franchise guy for the next 10 years. But someone's going to sign him and be like, hey, we want you to be our guy. We'll sign you on a 3-year deal. We're probably going to draft a rookie as well, but we want you to stabilize our franchise, but we'll pay you $30 million a year. That was great. For Sam Darnold, that's incredible. That's the kind of deal I wish they could sign Brock, because that's kind of where I think he's at. I hate to say that, and I'm not a Brock hater, and I hope he proves me wrong. And the truth is nobody played well this year. Nobody really played well outside of George Kittle and Dre Greenlaw for 1/2, and Fred Warner for 3 weeks before he broke his ankle, that kind of stuff. Juwan Jennings also had a great year. But if you're going to sign him to $60 million, I just think you don't know enough to give him $60 million a year. I'm not saying he's not worth it. I'm saying you don't know he's worth it for sure. And you have a lot of bad money in some of these older contracts. And, man, you're going to tie yourself up. Now, there's a lot smarter than me. They know the cap a lot better than me. $60 million is a lot, man. $60 million is a lot. My question is, would they consider asking Brock to play on his 4th year, his last year? I don't think they will, but are they at least going to talk about it behind closed doors, just Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch, and be like, what do we do, man? What do we do? Because his decision-making went down this year to a degree. If I had to guess, he's going to sign between $50 and $60 million. I don't think he supersedes Dak's contract, because I think Brock will be like, look, just give me 50. I think that's probably where it'll end up, which is better. That's all right. But what do? Would they bring back Sam Darnold and let them compete? I don't think they'd do that. I don't think they'd bring in the weirdness. But it's a big question. I think they pay him. I think they pay him early, and some of us might be upset about it, but I'm still rooting for the guy. And it's like, all right, well, let's live up to the contract like you did in 2023. If you can play like you did in 2023, then great. Like, then you're worth it. I have my questions if you can do it again. I really do. If you can do it again without a dominant run game like we had. So I don't know. I just feel like, man, if I'm paying $60 million a year for quarterback, I want him to look like Joe Burrow or Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes. And it's just hard because it's the market. Like, it's not, is this guy worth it? It's just like, that's the market. That's the going rate. That's what you have to pay. You can play hardball. We've played hardball, though, and it has backfired on us plenty. So anyway, that's my question number 2. What happens there? Question number 3. Who is gone after this year, this offseason? Who's gone? Who are these older contracts, these older vets that are going to be out? I think most of them are safe. I don't think, like, Kittle's not going anywhere. Just arguably having the best year of his career. Fred's not going anywhere, heartbeat of the defense. Bosa, obviously. Trent's not going anywhere. The offensive line is so bad. And they just restructured his deal, so it'd be really hard to get rid of him anyway. Though I bet you could get somebody to give you a first rounder for Trent. Be like, hey, Trent, we'll give you a first rounder. We get Trent 3 years of really good football to a team that's like contending. That would be like a Green Bay Packers. You wouldn't trade him to the Packers, but the Houston Texans, like, give you a first round pick. Someone in the AFC, like, hey, we got a window here. We want you here. We think you could put us over the hump. Anyway, they're not getting rid of him. The 3 guys I was thinking, obviously the hottest name everyone is demanding he's gone is Deebo Samuel. I don't know if he can be gone. I thought his out year was after this season, and it's not. He has 1 more year, and then after 2025 is when you can basically cut him for nothing. But if you trade him now, I think the dead cap is like $35 million. I was looking at it today. His cap hit for the year is like 19. I could be wrong. But it's up there. It's significant enough that you're like, man, we can't just like dump this guy. Or you could just dump him and just swallow the money. But man, we're so tight in our cap space. I know we're not, but we are in the future. Like, and having to sign Brock, like, I don't know. And the other thing is if you get rid of Deebo, you are so thin at wide receiver, literally, because Deebo is a big boy. He a hefty boy. If you get rid of Deebo, your wide receiver room is so thin because who do you have? You have Jennings, who's fantastic, by the way, but he's not a true number 1. He's played really well, but of course has some limitations. You have Pearsall, who I like, but man, he has not come on like you'd hoped. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt because he's had flashes. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt because nobody's played well this year. It's been the weirdest year of all time. But I wouldn't feel good if those were my 2 main guys, Jennings and Pearsall. And you're thinking to yourself, Seth Floyd, why haven't you talked about Brandon Ayuk, the wide receiver we just gave $30 million a year last offseason? Here's why. I'll tell you why. Did you see his knee injury? Did you see how gruesome that was? That was no normal non-contact ACL injury. Also, look at the time of it. It was late October. It was in that Chiefs game, okay, week 7 or whatever it was, okay, late October. Guys, look at me. I don't know if you want to hear this, okay, but I'm your friend, okay? When I'm telling you the truth, I'm your friend, okay? Brandon Ayuk is not going to be ready to start the season next year. Now, he's not going to miss as much time as Greenlaw because he didn't suffer his injury in the Super Bowl. But he's going to miss. They're going to start him on IR or the physically unable to perform list or whatever that is, and he's going to have to miss the first 4 to 6 games. He is not going to be ready. That was such a gruesome injury. Even when it's just an ACL, they now kind of lean towards the 12-month thing, unless you're just kind of a different breed, which some guys are. And maybe Ayuk is, I don't know, but I would guess he's not, because most guys aren't. Like, they lean towards, like, you're really not all the way back till 12 months out. 9 months is kind of fast. You're at like 75, 80% at 9 months, and your re-injury risk is pretty high at that. And so I don't think he's going to be ready. And I imagine that the front office is like, we just gave this guy a crap ton of money. We are not going to rush him out there until he's 100% because he's an investment. So my point is you get rid of Deebo, all you have is Jennings and Pearsall. Pearsall is pretty unproven. Cowing is really unproven. You're not going to have Ayuk for the first 4 to 6 games. I would bet money on that. So it's almost in your, especially because now if you trade Deebo, like, you're going to have a cap hit. So it just feels prudent to keep him around. I know people don't want to hear that. He's not the same as he was, but feels like they're going to keep him around just for continuity and familiarity's sake. But we'll see what happens with Debo. My other ones, I'm rambling too much. My other ones. Hargrave. What's with Hargrave? They just restructured his contract. It makes it easy to cut him after June 1st. A lot of people speculating he's going to be gone. I know Shanahan said the plan is to have Hargrave around. Don't know. Not sure. Not sure what they'll do there. I'm okay if they get rid of him. He's been pretty disappointing given the money we gave him. But you also have to address the D-line. I didn't get into that because the offensive line is more important at this moment than the D-line, but the D-line has to be addressed too. And maybe part of that is getting rid of Hargrave and replacing him with someone. Lastly, Kyle Juszczyk. Is Juszczyk gone? He hasn't made his impact known this year. Not really. Maybe not his fault. Feels like a guy that could be gone. He was almost gone this year. So just guys that want just to look at. We're going to start seeing after this year some of these vets that are going to be gone. Keep those questions in your mind and follow them this offseason, because those are going to be the main storylines this offseason. My 3 reasons for optimism, and then I'm going to get out of here because I've been talking more and I'm planning to. Number 1, guys, look at 2025. My number 1 reason for why you should be optimistic for 2025. In 2024, 49ers had the worst string of luck of any team in the NFL. Like, look at all the weird things that happened this offseason. Some of it was self-inflicted, but look at all the bad things that have happened, the bad vibes, the injuries, which is the biggest. Look at, just things not bouncing your way, like weird things. Special teams can't get right. Some of these are self-inflicted, but it has, in a lot of regards, this season has felt so unlucky, and nothing has bounced their way for the most part. My point is this: you're gonna regress back to the median. You're gonna regress back to normalcy, just based on the law of averages. You're gonna have better luck going next year because it felt like you had 0 luck this year. I would bet money you feel luckier next year. Maybe you don't believe in luck. I do. Look at the Chiefs. Look at the Rams last night. The 49ers dropped 3 or 4 interceptions. Just feels like maybe it's their time to make a run. I don't know. I'm just saying I believe in it, and I believe look at 2023, 49ers, every ounce of luck you could ever have, you just ran into Patrick Mahomes at the end of the year and lost the Super Bowl. So my point is you're probably not going to jump back to 2023 vibes and luck, but you'll even out somewhere, and things will start to bounce your way a little more, okay? I could get into all the things that are unlucky. The rest disadvantage, okay, you had negative 23 days rest advantage. No other team was even close to 20. The next team was at 17. Second year in a row, over the last 5 years, maybe it was 8 years, they've done this rest advantage thing. Over the last period of time, you'll say 5 years, no team has had a negative 20 rest differential except the Niners. And they had 21 last year, and I think it's 23 this year. Back-to-back years. No other team has even had 20 disadvantage in rest days. That makes a difference. I don't care what you say. I'm glad no one complains about it, like the team doesn't complain about it, but it makes a difference. So my hope is they'll right the ship a little bit and give us a break. But whatever. Okay. Number 2, there's a good chance you're picking near the top 10, which I talked about. There's a good chance you're picking near the top 10. You get a guy potentially like Kelvin Banks, or maybe a defensive lineman. I don't know. I haven't dug into the draft. I don't know where the defensive lineman will stand. I'm a Boise State fan and a Texas fan, and so I know a lot about Kelvin Banks, and he would be a good fit. But you're going to get a blue chip player, plug and play player on a cheap contract who should be ready to go and improve your team. Improve your team in a way that you really need it. I would bet money it's going to be an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman. Hopefully it's an offensive lineman. And if it's a defensive lineman, hopefully it's just an absolute game wrecker in the middle, okay? So that's good news. That's good news, guys. It is what it is. Good news. Sucks you lost so many games, but you're not like a normal team picking in the top 10. You're a pretty good team that, for whatever reason, underperformed this year. A lot of injuries. You could pick a blue chipper up, and then all of a sudden you're rolling, and you got this young guy on an easy contract, and now you're rocking and rolling. So that's good news. Draft's going to be fun. The draft's going to be more fun than it's been since 2020, basically, okay? And lastly, if things keep playing out how they are, and your division record is so bad, you're probably playing a last place schedule, and that makes a difference. Look at this year. This year, you played a first place schedule. You know what that got you? That got you the Kansas City Chiefs. That got you the Detroit Lions, who haven't even freaking played yet. And, oh my gosh, I'm blanking. Who was the last one? Kansas City Chiefs, Detroit Lions. Oh my gosh. Oh, and the Cowboys. And the Cowboys. You lucked out because Cowboys were bad. But Chiefs, Lions, you're about to get pounded by the Lions. Bad stuff. So the point is, you're probably gonna play a last place schedule, fourth place schedule. You know what that would net you? Okay, you're playing the NFC East, same place finisher, AFC North, same place finisher, and oh gosh, in the NFC North, same place finisher. Okay, so that would mean you'd get the Giants, the Browns, and the Bears. While the first place finisher has to play, think of those divisions, the Eagles, the Steelers, and the Lions again, or Vikings, I guess, if they pull it out. So that's a good news. So between all these things, like, you're set up for a really good year next year if you can get rid of these bad vibes and you can figure out what went wrong this year. If Kyle Shanahan can figure it out, you're going to have a great draft pick. You're going to have a much easier schedule than you had this year. You can bet on some luck going more your way than this year, and you got reasons to be excited. I don't know what that means. I'm not saying you're going to win the Super Bowl. I'm just saying there's reason to believe that 2025 will be closer to 2023 than it was to 2024. That's how I feel. Could be wrong. Been wrong about stuff before. Shocking, but it is what it is. Sorry, 49er fans. Sorry that this happened. But hey, if you survived this season, you can survive. I can't believe you're still alive. I can't believe your heart's still pounding and you still have breath. If you can survive that, you can survive anything. This is how terrible this season's been, okay? Thank you for watching the video. Like the video, subscribe. I'll do some more stuff. I don't know what the future looks like as far as what I'm going to cover. I guess I probably won't cover individual games for the Niners, but we'll talk off-season stuff. I'll talk other stuff. I might start branching out and doing some other things because who cares? My channel can do whatever I want. If I want to start talking Stranger Things, I might do that. I really want to. I really want to do Stranger Things. That might be coming up as soon as the season ends. We'll see. Anyway, regardless, subscribe. You guys are the best. I'm out.